Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. We're going to be trying out the brand new Carnival LR Rose and Zamasu. I'm very gassed about this one. Very excited to try these guys out. Of course, we did pull them from our summons. You can let me know down in the comments what you think about them and how your summons did go. So they are only 55% in the dupe system. They are only level 1 links. So we're going to see how they do at the bare minimum. We have already lost quite a bit of health, quite a bit, already down to 41%. The first rotation, which actually does help us, especially because Big Bad Bosses is only at level 1. So at least with us losing so much health, we can have Big Bad Bosses active. We do have some Super Bosses support coming from that Golden Freezer. So we do have a 755k attack stat to start with, 388k defense. There's 8 orbs here. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to make sure that Broly, Chilai, and Lemo get their dodge. Because we're currently waiting for the Super Easy AJL Rose and any potential major Easy A's to come out for the remainder of part 1, I kind of had to improvise with some of the extreme type units we were bringing purely to help Rose and Zamasu, or essentially bring them at their best. So while we wait for those, the team isn't exactly as good as it can be, but I think it's manageable. I think it is indeed doable. So we do have that Super Bosses support going. We do have Broly, Chilai, and Lemo support. On 18 key, Rose is going to get a 50% stack, raise all allies attack by 60% for 1 turn, which I just think is really, really nice. On 12 key, greatly raising attack by 50% again, and then 30% defense for the turn. So we are getting that on the 12 key super attack. And we're starting with 29.8 million with Big Bad Bosses active. Rose is also starting with 200% attack and defense. Boy, do I love those animations. I'm never going to get tired of those. 200% attack and defense at the start of turn. Receives an additional key +2 per key sphere obtained. And then 80% attack and defense. And attacks are effective against all types for all ally whose names include Goku Black. So that will apply to the Friend Rose. That will apply to the Fizz Rose. That will apply to the Super Easy A Rose. And the Int LR we have on the team as well, who is also gaining the boost for part 1 of GDC as well. So quite a lot of units benefiting from that. And of course, again, when we eventually do get the Super Easy A in what, just under 3 days time now, we'll also benefit from that very big and juicy support as well. Then per extreme class ally or future saga category ally on the team, we will gain 150% attack and defense. In total, 50% attack and defense for each ally, which of course we have done with a full extreme type Super Bosses team, which I'm not gonna lie, for a lead is pretty nice. And here we have the reversible exchange ready.
Online, there is no one who can stop us. We have all the power here. The two of us alone.
I feel like when Zamasu just flies down, you should just hear, oh! But for a lead, it's good. The key +4 and 220 is good. Super Boss is a pretty strong team. Unfortunately, I don't have Dokkan Fest Hit, who also would have helped, especially because he's an extreme type unit. But I feel like they could have give Rose and Zamasu such a better 220 leader skill. Super Boss is just, it wasn't the one to pick, if we're being brutally honest. It wasn't the one to really go for. So it's a shame they decided to do that. But it is what it is nonetheless. We also get a chance to crit and damage reduction rate of 20% up to 60%. That also attaches to per extreme class ally or future saga category ally. So we do have Rose next to us. We are on a 836k attack stat, 294 in terms of defense. We have also lost Big Bad Bosses because we have regained some health. How are we looking orb-wise? I don't think we're looking too healthy, are we? No, I don't think we're going to get Broly, Chilai, and Lemo the 7 orbs. No, we are. Okay, perfect. And we're getting some support for Rose as well. Both Roses. And then when all allies attacking in the same turn are extreme class or from future, we also do have guard as well. So not only do we have guard, we're up to 30 mil, by the way. So not only does he have guard, but he also has that 60% damage reduction per extreme class and future saga category ally on the team as well. So a lot of defensive versatility and a very beefy boy who's putting out, as you can see, even without Big Bad Bosses active, good numbers. So we're looking at very good numbers offensively. We're looking at very solid numbers defensively, especially with the stack on attack as well. But then also we have good defensive coverage when it comes to guard and damage reduction. Like, it's not easy, or sorry, it's not difficult to get the extra attack and defense per ally. It's not difficult to get all the crit chance and damage reduction. It's not difficult to get all the guard. Sure, on the team I've decided to bring, maybe a bit more so. But if I went with a different team, it'd be way more easy to do. I just wanted to show, of course, Carnival, LR, Rose, and Zamasu at their best. And then, of course, we're going to get the Super Easy A Rose in a couple days. Hopefully, still fingers crossed, I'm holding out for this. At some point during part 1, or if there's a part 3 as well, we see an Easy A fit in LR Fusion Zamasu, because that would pop off on this team and also help the Super Bosses category out as well. So hopefully we end up seeing that. We do have the domain ready to go as well. Ooh. Ooh, I'm popping that. I'm popping that. Also, this Fizz Rose, I don't want to say he's on a comeback because of Carnival, LR, Rose, and Zamasu, but it definitely helps. Like, he's somewhat usable now. Like, he's not fully revived. He isn't on a comeback tour. However, he is a lot more usable than he was, and you could probably get away with using him. But in terms of the rest of Rose's kit, he is activating, when activating the active skill or when attacking with 18 or more ki, which we're always doing, that's an extra 200% attack as well. And an additional attack, there's a 70% chance to also become a super attack. When receiving an attack, he does get a chunky extra 180 defense. And then starting from the 4th turn, which we've already seen, he can exchange with, I might actually use an Usher here. Yeah, I don't trust Frieza potentially surviving just in case. So that Usher's just to be safe. And of course, we do have the reversible exchange already ready. Oh, the friend's doing 45 mil with the domain up. And then, of course, to exchange into Zamasu, I'm not saying Zamasu is bad, but I think the same thing applies to Vegeta, except I love Vegeta's animations. And also, Vegeta does have that chunky support that Rose has for Goku Black units, but for Trunk units, but we just don't have a Trunks unit to go with him yet, which is why I'm adamant the LR Vegeta and Trunks will easy A in the celebration. But I feel like the Zamasu and Vegeta side of the units, the kits, are just nowhere near as good as the Rose and Blue Goku side of the kits. Like, they're not bad, they're still good, they're just not as good. Like, if we switch into Zamasu, which of course we can, and I will purely for the sake of the video, he does start with Ki plus 7 and attack and defense plus 200%. Both these kits seem dead set on basically having beefy tons of stats, which Zamasu does have. 823k attack, 219k defense. Don't forget, we don't have big bad bosses active because we don't have our HP low enough, which I know is a little bit annoying. I know we keep missing out on big bad bosses here and there. We do also have the Fizz Rose domain up, so it's going to do even more damage. 32.9. Remember, this is all at 55% as well. But this side of the kit, it just seems a little bit weaker, a little bit lacking. I mean, he is getting 100% attack and defense raise on 18 ki, does recover 20% HP, which when big bad bosses is level 10, that will work out a hell of a lot better. And he is getting 50% attack and defense on 12 ki as well, which is also very nice. Then he's also got a 50% chance to crit, guaranteed guard as well, but no condition for it, which I do think is nice. But when attacking, 200% attack and defense, huge star category, extreme class allies, 10% damage reduction. Then when activating the active skill or when attacking with 20 or more ki, 200% attack and defense, guaranteed additional, 300% attack and defense, and a guaranteed crit, 6% damage dealt as HP when HP is 60% or less as well. Like, it's good, it's just not as good as the Rose kit. And again, I think the exact same thing applies, in my opinion, also to the Vegeta side of the kit for Blue Goku as well. Like, it's good, it's just not as good as the Rose side of things. Like, you've got guard and damage reduction. You've got that Goku Black support. I know it's very focused and very specific, but it's chunky, it's good, it works well. There's a lot of Goku Black units on the team anyway. And I said you've got guard, damage reduction. The stats might be a little bit lower. Zamasu might do a bit more damage, which is fair, because I think he does. That's kind of about it. Other than that, I think Rose's just doing more. So, can I... Do you know what? I don't want to risk it, so I'm actually going to do this instead. Actually, does that doesn't actually take anything, so actually I can... I'm hoping those AGL orbs don't drop in a bad way, so I can still get Broly and Chila and Lemo all the orbs they need. Oh, we ended up getting more. We ended up getting 9. Okay, so that works out perfectly for this rotation. Like, sure, Zamasu has guard. Sure, Zamasu gives a little bit of damage reduction to everyone else, which is nice. And as I said, I think the main part of those kits, and in this case specifically Zamasu, is he just has a ton of stats. The guard without having a condition is nice. However, we've already built the team around having Future Saga category allies, having extreme class allies, so it's already there. Unless you purposely build the team so Rose is worse off, so Zamasu's, you know, you don't have to fill the team out with those category units, which doesn't really make sense, because why are you going to do that? But it just felt like with the Vegeta and Zamasu side of the kits that they're good, they just don't offer anywhere near as much as Rose and Blue Goku do. So this sounds a bit harsh, but it almost feels as if you don't really need to exchange. Like, this isn't a 10th anniversary LR case where it's kind of like, okay, we're stacking attack with Goku, we need some defense, let's switch into Vegeta, and then on the AGL one, Goku for a bit so we can build up some defense. Not to say that they're bad, but you have reason to switch into those because you need to start stacking defense. You need to beef up the unit a bit. Whereas you don't have a stack here on either sides of those kits. You have the stack on the Rose part of the kit, which is the better side of the kit. So I don't really have a reason to exchange. I don't really see a reason to have to exchange. I think the only reason why you're going to switch into Zamasu, which definitely isn't a bad thing, Jesus Christ. That has to be one of my favorite animations in the whole game. Rose's active skill is honestly just, it has to be one of the best. It is peak. I did actually want to show both active skills off. So we've gone one with one Rose, and then of course I'm gonna end up giving my Rose the Zamasu active skill. As I was saying, you know, before, that Fizz Rose, while you may be able to get away with him, as you can see, he's still not safe. He's still not great. There's no revival for him. You may be able to get away with him if you're lucky enough to avoid super attacks, which of course there I wasn't able to. Also, if you have dupes, minus 55% to be fair. But that Rose active skill does massively raise attack temporarily, cause ultimate damage to the enemy, all attacks become critical hits, and super boss category allies get 15% attack and defense, and an additional 10% defense for characters who also belong to the Future Saga category for 4 turns. So that means all Rose Zamasu units, Goku Black units, will be getting the 15% attack and defense, and an extra 10% defense on top of that for belonging to Future Saga. And the fact it lasts for 4 turns is also very nice, kind of when you're going in that kind of final stride, maybe get through a stage, get through an event. And as I was already saying, I kind of feel like there's no reason to exchange into Zamasu, and not much reason, at least at the moment, to exchange into Vegeta for Blue Goku and Vegeta until we get a Trunks unit to benefit from the support. But even then, you're not going to want to be doing that all too often. Now, Zamasu's active skill, which is where you get the Fusion Zamasu animation play, which looks amazing, will massively raise attack temporarily, cause ultimate damage to the enemy, give you Ki +4, and 40% extra attack in battle. And I'm pretty sure that is permanent. So we have the domain up. We have Big Bad Boss is active, maybe? Yes. So now is perfect time as any to pop his active skill. And his active skill is probably one of the few times you're actually going to want to switch into Zamasu rather than staying in as Rose.
As I show you the power of my divine light. Age of Judgment!
Now that is a lot of damage and also just looks so sick. So yeah, overall, I really do like Rose and Zamasu. I think they are very good. Definitely up there as one of the best units in the game. Same for Blue Goku and Vegeta. I think the only downside to this unit is the 220 leader skill. I think it's nice that it's a flat 220 lead. Super Bosses is a solid-ish category. However, we could have gone elsewhere with the category. We could have gone somewhere else. I didn't think we needed a 220 leader skill for Super Bosses. I feel like we could have gone somewhere a bit better. You know, it couldn't have been Future Saga because of the blues. But, you know, we could have gone Realm of Gods. That means we literally would have had a full, you know, Rose, Zamasu, Goku Black team, 220 lead. If there wasn't Future Saga attached to the passive and it was Realm of Gods instead, you could have had, you know, Goku's and Vegeta's, the Year 7 EZAs, etc. We could have gone Worldwide Chaos. That could have been a big one as well. So it's a shame about the leader skill. However, it is manageable. And then also, if it wasn't Future Saga, I said, in the passive and it was something else, we could have had the passive conditionals be attached to the category as well. But Rose is honestly amazing. Simply amazing. Love the animations on every part of the kit. I just don't think there is too much reason to want to switch into Zamasu unless you specifically want to do a little bit of extra damage in a turn. But then Rose stacks anyway. But then that also means Zamasu's forever getting stronger when you exchange into him. But there's not too much reason outside of that. Maybe giving Extreme Class Future Saga category allies 10% damage reduction if really need be. And then if you specifically want the Fusion Zamasu active skill, which even then, you can decide to do one, use the active skill, then exchange back. And then the other one, your one maybe, just stays as Rose, and then you can use their active skill. So I think unless you want the active skill specifically from Zamasu, there's not really much reason to actually switch. Like, there really isn't. So right now, Rose has not only the Fizz Rose's domain active, but also the Friend Rose's active skill active. So we actually have a ton of support. Yeah, look at that. 5.5 mil attack stat, 551k defense, with guard, with 60% damage reduction, and what will also be support from Broly, Cheelai, and Lemo on top of that. I think we may have just lost big bad bosses, but it is what it is. And we're doing 50 mil. 50 mil! And that is without having any dupes in the Carnival LR Rose and Zamasu either. And then 35.5 million on the 12p Super. As I said, this unit is phenomenal. This unit is very, very good. Every part of the animations of this unit look amazing. Even that boosted Rose is doing 68.5 mil. You love to see it. However, leader skill, meh. And I just don't think there's too much reason to switch into Zamasu unless you specifically want to use the Fusion Zamasu active skill. And you want to have that permanent stat increase, which is pretty good. Then, as I said, you could do one active skill with one to last for a couple turns, then use another active skill on the other who you want to keep the permanent buff. You know, that's the only reason to exchange into Zamasu, is to use the active skill. Other than that, I don't see myself hardly ever exchanging from Rose to Zamasu, and Rose will always be out, just because he is just overall a better unit. Great damage, good defensively, very good defensive coverage and versatility with the damage reduction and guard. And then he's stacking. I cannot wait for the Extreme AGL Rose Super EZA to come out. Wasn't meant to say Extreme. Was meant to say Super EZA. Yeah, can't wait for the Rose Super EZA to come out because that rotation is going to go off. Those Super EZAs for VB and Rose look ridiculously good. I love this unit. This is probably my favorite unit in the game right now, because this is also one of my favorite arts in the entire game right now. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a great day, and peace.